Welcome to Take 5 with the Top 50, the video interview series with Atlantic Business Magazine's Top 50 CEOs. Each episode, we ask 5 questions to find out what make these award-winning leaders tick. I'm Heath Moore, Managing Partner, Nova Scotia, with presenting sponsor Grant Thornton. In this episode, I'm talking to Gord Gamble, President and CEO of Iron Dog Mechanical Service, Inc. In late 2016, Gord and his business partners acquired Metro Burner Services Limited. Under Gord's leadership, the company has rebranded to Iron Dog Mechanical Services, Inc. in 2017 and has since tripled in size and revenue. Its rapid growth has been enabled by expanded service offerings, a focus on commercial industrial markets, and a geographical expansion throughout the maritime provinces. Thanks for joining us, Gord. Let's get started. Why did you decide to rebrand the company, and where did the name Iron Dog come from?
It was a challenging decision to make that rebrand, to take the rebranding decision. You know, we had acquired the company, as you say, late 2016, Metro Burner, and it was a 40-plus-year-old company that had been in the market and very successful in the market for all those years. So well entrenched with its customers, and we did, have some long discussions about is it the right thing to rebrand. But I believe once we took the strategic decisions to, exit the residential market, for example, focus on commercial industrial, expand the service offering. Metro Burner was primarily in the heating business, a little bit of plumbing, but we're now in the heating, cooling, and plumbing business, so full mechanical. So I think once those strategic decisions were taken, it became quite evident that the name no longer reflected who we were and what we were doing and what we wanted to be doing. So at that time, we engaged Revolve. I'm sure many know Phil Otto. Certainly has done a lot of branding in Nova Scotia and beyond. And one of the things Phil will tell you right off the bat is you never name a company for what it does and where it does it. And so the name Metro Burner certainly broke both those conventions. So we embarked on a process that Revolve takes companies through, really trying to get into the DNA of who your company is, what makes you unique, and also trying to encourage you to think aspirationally, where do you want to be as you grow your company. And that engages all levels of employees, engage some of our customers, and it was a great process. And once we define that DNA of who we are and who we want to be, then Phil's creative team takes over and they start coming up with brand names that reflect that DNA. And so we landed on Iron Dog. Iron is a very strong word. We work with a lot of black iron pipe in our industry. The dog breeds hardworking, willing to get dirty to get the job done, loyalty. So the brand fit really well. And as Phil alludes to, and we talk about, it wasn't just about coming up with the right name. It was about building a brand and something that would be a brand in the market space. And so as important as the name was, there was also the brand promise, which is making buildings perform better is our brand promise. And that was an important piece for our team, our technicians, and our team to get behind, because that gave them more clarity as to what Iron Dog is and how do we go to market. And when they're out there doing it, and I hear them play it back to me on a fairly regular basis, they understand that their job is to make buildings perform better. And if they do that, that reflects the brand that we're trying to grow.
I'd like to hear more about your triple-digit growth in staff and revenue. How did you do it? Was it through corporate acquisitions or by expanding your market share?
So our growth to date has been organic. It has been, building it over time over the last 4 or 5 years. Not that we're not opposed to acquisitions. We certainly looked at some acquisitions and we'll continue to do that as they make sense, particularly in some of the geographical areas where we're looking to put some infrastructure into Brunswick, Prince Edward Island. So we're not opposed to it, but so far it's been a combination of market share growth. So certainly in our service division, we have been able to acquire new customers that are in the property management space. So looking after large multi-unit residential properties on behalf of companies like Killam and Skyline and Hazelview, all large REIT organizations that own multiple buildings here in this market. The other part that has allowed us to grow that market share, of course, was the decision to expand our service offering from just heating to being in the heating, cooling, and plumbing business. Our customers, like most customers, want that one-stop shop. They want to be able to deal with one organization, hold them accountable for their systems, and that's what we were able to do by achieving that service offering expansion. And then I think you mentioned in the intro even that our other aspect of our growth strategy has been to go beyond the boundaries of Nova Scotia. So to reach into New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, particularly on the construction side, and to bid and secure work in those markets. And to date, we're exporting our team into those markets when we secure work, but we're looking to grow some infrastructure in those provinces as well. And that's been an important part of our growth as well, is the expansion of our business from beyond just being in the service industry to being in the construction services industry. So, we now work with most of the large general contractors in Atlantic Canada, the Lindsays and the Bird and Marcos and those organizations who would subcontract to us to do new construction, retrofit construction, and plumbing, gas, and air quality systems. So that certainly has been a big factor in the need for us to grow our number of people and also to grow our revenues as well.
Gord, what's your long-term plan for Iron Dog, and how will you get it there?
So it became pretty evident pretty quickly that growth was going to be dependent on labor availability. We all know the challenges of the skilled trade workforce here in Nova Scotia, across Canada, and not just in Canada, beyond. So it became very evident that if we're going to grow, we needed to build a process by which we can expand our labor. So we've made a very significant investment in apprenticeship development. I'm very proud of the core group of Red Seal certified technicians that we have here. We have air conditioning tech Red Seals, oil burner Red Seals, gas fitter Red Seals, plumbing Red Seals, and they're a good group. They're strong in their trade, and what that's allowed us to do then is to partner with the Nova Scotia Apprenticeship Agency to bring in new graduates into the program and really expedite their development through their Red Seal apprenticeship. And it's a partnership, and I'm very blunt with the young people that sit across from me when we bring them in, that this is a great place for you to apply your trade and develop your skills, but it's a two-way street, and I expect a strong work ethic. I expect that you're going to demonstrate passion for your trade, and it's not just something you're doing to pay the bills, and that you're going to be engaged with our team at all times, and that's important. And I can tell you that within 3 months, I get feedback from my Red Seal guys and females that this person's going to make it, or this one's not going to make it. And once we find they're in, then we invest in them, and we work closely with the apprenticeship agency to move them along. So that, in terms of long-term plans, any plans involved trying to deal with this labor issue. And I think now we feel we've got at least a plan and a process by which to deal with that. And that allowed us to continue to go after more market share here in Nova Scotia, go into other provinces for expanded opportunities and work as well. There are a couple of other things that we're watching closely in terms of where do we go as a company in the future. One, of course, is there's a lot of pressure on lowering the use of fossil fuels in our industry. So we've certainly seen strong demise in the oil utilization here as a heating fuel. We are a much larger team in the natural gas than in oil, and that's really transitioned probably even in the 5 years that I've been involved, where we've seen less demand on the oil and higher on the natural gas. But that's going to continue to evolve, and there's a lot of interest in increasing electrification, better use of a clean grid here in Nova Scotia. And so we're watching those trends. There's a trend around green hydrogen right now, the ability to extract, to do the electrolysis to bring hydrogen out through using windmills. So another trend that we're watching. So it's important for us to make sure that we're aware of those trends and that we're training our skilled workforce to be available to service that when it hits. And I would say the last piece to that is like many industries as well, the growth and expansion and use of technology in our field. We're seeing AI technology in buildings to make buildings smart buildings. Building owners want to invest in that technology that lowers their overall operating costs, improves their efficiencies. So it's important for us as Iron Dog to make sure that we're aware of that technology. We're partnering in some cases to try to bring some of that technology to bear so that it has that value add to our customers. And we're not just there to fix broken boilers. We're there to partner with them on making sure their buildings perform better, and that means being aware of the technology that's coming down the pipe.
As a child, you dreamed of playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs and hoisting the Stanley Cup. While you didn't make the NHL, you have evolved from player to coach. Do you see any correlations between that and your evolution from employee to owner?
So I take from your question, you're ruling out my options here, that I'm not going to get the call this summer from the Leafs. I'm not that much older than Joe Thornton, so really, I'm not giving up on the dream yet. But to your question, I really enjoyed coaching. My kids were very active in their youth, and it gave me an opportunity to be behind the bench or in the dugout, and really did enjoy it, and I do feel it does bring skills that come to bear in business. I mean, if you're going to coach kids, and you may have done the same, you're also coaching parents and dealing with parents. So you learn people management skills, you learn good communication skills, clearly leadership skills, all of which are very transferable to the business community or business space. And the beauty is, once you translate them into business, you don't have to deal with the crazy parents anymore. So that's a benefit. And I would add to that too, no different than what we're doing here. We're building a team, and we're selecting players to join that team based on their skills and their qualities. And you have your superstars that are your first liners, and you've got your fourth line grinders, and you need to work with them differently. And you figure out the ones that respond well to a kick in the pants versus the ones that need a pat in the back. And so all those similar things that you do trying to get the most out of your hockey team is very equatable to what we're trying to do here with this organization, and providing them with a good, fair, safe space to apply their skills and their trade. The last 5 years, I've watched some really nice situations of young people coming in as apprentices and progressing through their Red Seal certification, buying their first house, getting married, having their first child. That's to me the most fulfilling part of building a team like this, and seeing those individuals benefit from it, and Iron Dog playing a small role in it.
Your career to date has been quite eclectic. You started in the pharmaceutical industry, you then moved to the printing sector. Your latest endeavor prior to Iron Dog was to run for public office. What motivated you to put your name up for election, and what were you hoping to accomplish?
What drives somebody to put their name on a ballot, or what drove me to put my name on the ballot? I would say it's two factors. It's one, it was a lifelong passion and engagement in politics that I completely attribute to my father. Dad never ran for public office, but he was always very engaged. We always knew the local candidates. We knew the local MLAs and MPs. They would be at our house for dinners and barbecues. And so I think growing up and being around that kitchen table and hearing those stories, and I was impressed by the people I met. I thought they were good people trying to do good things. So I attribute that. I think the other part of why I put my name on the ballot that year is timing. I had just exited the commercial printing business. I had sold that off and was deciding what was next, and I was doing a little bit of consulting, but hadn't made any firm commitments to anything. So I reflect on the fact that I had spent 10 years in large corporate Canada. I had spent 10 plus years in a small business entrepreneurial environment, and I had visions of trying to apply some of that business acumen and maybe take the next 10 years of my life and apply it to public office, and see if we couldn't bring some of that business acumen as to how government decisions are made and how things get done in government, or in some cases don't get done. So that was really what drove me. I had a great opportunity to live across this country. I lived in Western Canada and lived in Ontario, and I'm very proud of what we have here in Nova Scotia. I think we have a tremendous province. We have tremendous assets, from our natural resources to our tourism, culture, and the universities that we have in this province. I think we have the mix of assets to be very successful, and I just feel we need really strong leadership with a long-term strategic vision of where we want to take this province. I was thinking, as I was thinking about this, it's unfortunate we don't hear anything about the Ivany report anymore. I thought that was a phenomenal document that came out right around that time period that I was considering public office. And I think some of the concepts that they laid out there about getting away from these 4-year political cycles of planning and really putting out a long-term vision. And then if there's political change, the plan doesn't change. It's just the political leadership that changes, but stick to the plan. And we all know that in business, you don't change things overnight. You don't build companies in 4 and 5 years. You not ones that are sustainable long term. So I would like to see I'd like to see more people in those business backgrounds put their name on the ballot, and maybe we can take this province to a whole different level.